Hey, it's Connor here in Saint-Paul-de-Vence. I'm about 20 minutes behind Cannes on the Côte d'Azur in France, and here for an executive retreat. There's a group of senior executives have come here to spend some time outside of their business, seeing their lives, their businesses from the 30,000 foot distance, a much more strategic way of looking at life, getting out of the day-to-day of the business. And I'm privileged to be here as a speaker with the group. And what I want to talk to you about this week is the need to get up and to see your life from the 30,000 foot view, to see from a higher distance. One of the things I read this week was a blog post by Billy Cassano, and he talks about reading above your level. Some advice he received from a mentor, to read above your level. And I think not only should you read above your level, you need to get above your level and see how your life is from the 30,000 foot place. You need friends in your life who challenge you to live above your level. You need to read above your level, questions, thinking that requires you to develop your brain in order to comprehend and to grasp what the author is getting at. Not all the time, but enough that you get an overall perspective on life and where it's going. 2 years ago, my father was celebrating his 70th birthday, and as a family we spent the month of August in a chateau in France, and next to the chateau was the Loire River. So day after day you could hear the Loire River flowing past the house, and myself and my brother, we one day decided to take some of the pool inflatable lilos, walk about a mile up the river, and then go into the river and just float down the river, sat on these inflatable pool toys. So you can imagine that the first time we did it, we were a little bit scared of maybe there's underwater branches, there's something that could be dangerous. So we'll stick close together. So the two of us, when we got up a mile, we got into the river, we were sort of holding hands, staying close together, really watching out, really careful. And that first time took us about 20 minutes to float down to the point where we were next to the chateau and come out. Spectacular. I think we saw such a beautiful side of the chateau, of the forest. And what was wonderful is to see the people of the town looking into the river and thinking, who are these guys? What are they doing? And clearly no one has ever floated down this river on inflatable toys before. But after a couple of times we were quite relaxed. And I remember one time we both went up and we both got ourselves on our inflatable blow-up pool toy. And I remember my brother started about 5 meters to the left in the water from where I was, and 5 meters to the left there was a faster moving part of the river. And I remember that time when we reached down at the point that we came out, he'd reached the end 10 minutes before me, which was twice as fast. And it struck me, in that river, if you want to get to the end quicker, if you want to make progress quicker, rather than paddling really hard, if you paddle really hard you can only add 5-10% to your speed. But if you pay attention to where the river is moving fast and you use your effort to move yourself horizontally, sideways, to where the river is moving fast, that's how you get the most accelerated progress down the river. And I was thinking, how often in life are we paddling frantically, but actually if we were to just paddle 2 or 3 meters to the side, there's a channel that is going much faster. And how can you do this? How do you take a stop in your life, look at where the river of life is going, who's going fast, where can you position yourself, in what organization can you best place yourself, around which people can you best place yourself, in order to have the flow of the river start to take you fast. And I think sometimes you find that the river is actually flowing against you. rather than paddling hard just to stay still, it's best to find a rock and cling on, or just take your floating object out of the river and sit on the bank and just watch for a while. You'd make much more progress sitting still on the bank than paddling frantically in the water. And I wonder whether in Ireland I was brought up to value people making an effort, and sometimes I more highly value the person paddling frantically than the person who's just calmly moving themselves to the channel where the river is flowing the fastest and allowing the river to do the work. And this days here in France are days to take a step up and look at how the river of our life is moving and decide, am I in the fastest moving part of the channel, or with a couple of easy strokes can I move myself a meter to the left or a meter to the right and see my whole life accelerate and become easier. And I certainly want to stop valuing sheer effort, but be more aware of where you place yourself in this river of life. And Vistage Entrepreneurs Organization, taking time to travel. I spent last week in New York. These are all ways that I just move up outside of my daily life in Barcelona, see other perspectives, see other people's lives, see other ways of going at things. And sometimes 1 5-minute conversation can give you more tips for success, more things to achieve than a year of frantic effort in the office. I certainly remember when I was running my private jet airline, Taxi Jet, a lunch with 2 guys that ran a private jet operation in the US. I learned more about where to find good clients during that half-hour lunch than in the 4 years of busily working away previously. So sometimes the idea, the spark, the person that can move you fast down that river, it's worth half an hour spending with them is far, far more effective than day after day, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours paddling frantically to try and get ahead in your current channel in the river. So that's this week's thought. Get up and look at the river that is our lives, and maybe by moving a meter to the right or a meter to the left or to the far right of the river channel, you'll find that there's a place where the river will take you much, much faster than any amount of hard paddling will take you. Have a great week, and again, thank you for your comments, shares, likes, your questions, your engagement keeps me inspired to keep making these videos. Have a great week.